Good evening. Welcome to CINEKYD Theater. You've met the stars, and they've put together an exciting half hour for you. Settle back and relax. This is the best of local talent. This is CINEKYD Theater. So pleased that you could join us tonight. We really do have a very special program. Of course, we like to think that every one of them are special. Tonight, we'll be visiting with our friend Uncle Flywheel. Later in the broadcast, we'll take you back to Telford Mansion. But to start the show, we thought it might be interesting to take you, the members of our viewing audience, behind the scenes, to meet some of the people responsible for much of the programming that takes place here at CINEKYD. So once again, we've called upon the talents of the one and only young Dave Trachtenberg to guide you behind the scenes. And this week, we're going to take you to our makeup and costume department. Obviously, a lot of our programming this year requires extensive makeup and costume work. Our boys and girls are outfitted with costumes for hours and hours before actual production begins, and lots of times they have to spend up to an hour before a broadcast getting made up. The different characters and characterizations are designed and developed by our young people under the guidance of Miss Peggy Rastiello. I'm very pleased that she's a graduate of the CINEKYD program, is now a college student, and a teacher with our students. So let's join Dave as he visits with Peggy and a couple of our students in the makeup and costume department of CINEKYD.
Hi, I'm David Trachtenberg on CINEKYD Theater. And this week we're going to talk to Peggy Rastiello, who's the head of the makeup and costumes crew. Before I start asking Peggy some questions, I just wanted to tell you why we were here. Makeup and costumes was a crew that was just kind of out of a suitcase, and when we made films, we just took the makeup out of a suitcase and we started putting them on the people. But now, for the first year, we have our own room where we do all our makeup and costumes for each movie and shows and things like that. Peggy, this is the new room, and how do you like it?
I love it. I think there's a real need for it, or a space where we can keep our costumes and our makeup without having to go into a suitcase every time we do something.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it's more convenient to just have everything instead of going into things and getting it out.
It's easier for the talent to keep their costumes together, and we have a place where our crew can work without having to get in the way of other crews.
When you started getting interested in makeup, what was the first thing that you had to know?
I picked it up over the years. When I started in CINEKYD, I was a student director, and I've done that, and that kind of allows you to work on other crews, and I always helped makeup, and I was always interested in it. And you learn how to apply it first, and the right way and the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. What projects have you worked on yourself, and what are some of the projects that the crew works on together?
My big project is the department right now. Just trying to get that organized. That's what I'm doing. That's enough. And trying to train people. I've got to stay one step ahead of my crew, and it's tough. I'm trying to teach them age makeup and monster makeup. There's an art to it. It's not just something you just don't slap powder and lipstick on somebody's face.
Yeah, that's what most people think.
There's
Makeup and costumes.
a way to do it.
Put everything on, but yeah, it's really like a technique or something.
I mean, you know that.
Yeah, but what, like a clown or something like that. It, like, what are some of the steps that it takes in doing that?
Well, there's a lot of steps. First, you clean somebody's face off and prepare it for the clown white, which is grease paint, which is really horrible to work with to get it even. And then you apply your colors on top of that for the lips and the eyes and the nose. And there's certain types of clown makeup, and there's certain techniques that you use when you apply it. You just don't draw a big mouth and a big nose and big eyes and that's it with different colors. There's types of clowns.
Does it take a lot of time to do something like that, or?
It can take to somebody who's not real familiar with it. It can take a long time, and that's part of the reason we have the department to train students to do that kind of a thing in a short period of time.
How did you learn to do things like that?
I learned it from Wendy Worthington. I learned a lot of it from the track program, and from the summer media programs, just by working with the crew. And also on my own time, I did a show for a temple in Jenkintown. There were 52 people in it, and I was the only makeup person, so I learned real fast.
Besides makeup, do you like costumes? You make your own, your own costumes and things like that?
That's one of the things we're going to start doing, is designing and making costumes just to have on hand for whatever productions we might want to do. Especially, we have costumes for small people. We need them for the older kids too. I'll have to be doing some of that. We have our own sewing machine now, so we'll be using that.
Behind us, what's that for?
Denise is designing makeup on Brian for Uncle Flywheel. He's an elf. Brian is an elf, and she's playing with some different techniques and some different colors to get certain effects in case we go to color TV. That's Brian Eggleston. He plays Braino in Uncle Flywheel, and she's just working out some of the bugs in the makeup.
When you do an old person, how do you make him look old? Like a kid? 'Cause
Well, what you do when a person ages, their skin sags, okay, and like your jaw here, okay, you would have your skin when you get older. You'll have little bags under here, okay. So we create that using like dark brown shadow and white highlight. We create the effect of having a bag under your jaw and bags under your eyes and heavy lines from your nose to your mouth. And that's, there's a technique to that also. There's a whole, there's certain bones you accent and certain, shadows, hollows in your face that you accent also.
Well, I understand that you know a lot about it, but how do you teach, people who are not familiar with it at all?
Hands-on. You take somebody, you grab a subject, and you say, okay, we're going to need to make up on your face. And I'll take the crew, and I'll show them on one side of the face, and then they'll work it out on the other so that they match, and that the person, looks old when they're done. And you learn by doing it yourself.
Besides doing movies and things like that, are there any other projects that you do in between?
We have makeup notebooks, which are called morgues, which are pictures from magazines, newspapers, that of old men, old women.
So they study from these?
They study from the pictures. They have something to look at while they're trying to create the makeup, so they know where a wrinkle should go or where,
So before a movie, if like Mr. Clark or somebody would tell them an idea that they could get prepared for it, they'd look into their books.
And we haven't got anything like that, and we need them for reference. And we also are doing collages of that type of thing to put up on our walls, because we don't have that much stuff. But that's just for now. We're going to be doing other things in the future.
What do you think was, the hardest movie for makeup, in terms of makeup, that has been done so far at CINEKYD? I know in Gargantua, the people from ID.
That was tough, yeah. That was really creative. The crew did a nice job on that. They used sequins and glitter And it isn't so hard. The hardest part of makeup is creating it in the first place. Taking someone's face and deciding what you're going to do with it to create the effect that you want. That's the toughest part. I think the toughest makeup job we had was probably Gargantua, or one of the horror films that we've done. The films we do for Halloween or for Christmas. They take a lot of makeup.
Yeah, like a monster or something.
Yeah, we did a Tyro show one time where the children were all made up like stuffed animals and toys and things, and that was tough.
Well, thanks, Peggy.
You're welcome, Dave.
It's neat here.
Well, we have a lot of girls on the crew, and I hope we can attract some guys because we'll be getting into space makeup and monsters and that kind of a thing.
It's neat.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, thanks, and see you next week on CINEKYD Theater.
It really is interesting. I guess almost as interesting to see how a show is put together as it is to watch the completed product. And I guess an awful lot of our boys and girls do things where the audience is not completely aware of their participation in the program. So before we begin by showing you a completed product, what I'd like to do is to take you from the makeup department to the sets, the graphics department, different areas, hard at work. So here, from the background crew, we'd like to present now some clips, again, behind the scenes at CINEKYD, as we get ready to create CINEKYD Theater.
What's your name?
Ashley Barlow.
And what do you do here at CINEKYD?
Well, here at CINEKYD, I do still photography, and I do acting, and I do background film crew.
And what do you do in background crew?
Background crew, I usually do during the summer, and while the filming's going on and everything, for the movies, we film what they're doing behind the scenes, and it's mostly behind the scenes films.
Okay. Where do you go to school?
I go to school at Williamton Senior High in Warminster. Well, I plan to go to a two-year college, 2 years in communications, and then I want to go for 2 years in drama. I plan to go into an acting career.
Okay, so your work here at CINEKYD is really helping you out for that.
Yes, it is. I've been acting here for 5 years, and I've been doing a lot of technical work, and it really will help me when I go on the outside. I'll know what I'm doing.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashley.
Well now, having provided you with so many opportunities to see how it's done, suppose we take a look at a finished product. We take you now high atop a windy hill to a dark, dark mansion on the edge of town. This, of course, is Telford Mansion. To recapitulate, in weeks past, we've seen that young Jonathan Telford and his kid brother Bobby have inherited Telford Mansion, which is now occupied by Zelda Parch, various members of their staff and family. Miss Parch, of course, is not thrilled with the idea of turning over her residence to someone else. And as we've seen, there are a number of very, very curious people who live in Telford Mansion. At the conclusion of last week's episode, Jonathan and Bobby discovered, to their dismay, that they were locked in their bedroom. Let's see what happens this week as we continue with Chapter 4 of The Ghost of Telford Mansion.
Now what are we going to do?
I'm going to break the door down.
What? You break the door down? What do you think you are, a sumo wrestler?
You just sit there and stay out of the way.
Try it again. Maybe it was just stuck or something.
Bobby, I'm telling you, it's broken.
It's open.
I knew that door was locked.
It's not now.
Well, let's get out of here.
Am I coming with you?
Yeah, you're coming with me. I'm not leaving you here.
Snooping again, Winston.
Oh, no, just taking out a little bit.
I see. Where are they?
I'm not quite sure. They had a little bit of trouble getting out.
And I suppose you saw to that?
Yes, madam.
There's only one problem. While you're searching their room, they're wandering about the house.
Good point, madam.
I want you to find them and bring them back to me.
Yes, madam.
And Winston, one more thing. The
Yes.
scream. Was it ours?
I'm not quite sure, madam.
Just doing a history report. You tell him. No, you tell him. A history report. I don't know anything about a history report. I'm supposed to be here to fix the carpet. I'm supposed to be here and you're not. Please, let us go. I don't care if you go or stay. I'm supposed to be here to fix the carpet and you're on it.
I'll have to call the Automobile Association. First time my caddy broke down.
That's why my father always prefers limousines.
Jonas, what are you doing?
Trying to fix the carpet. Please, Mr. Cromwell, help us.
Girls, why are you here?
Trying to do a history report. Get them off my carpet. What is all the noise? Sandy, Laurie, what are you doing here? A history report.
Mr. Cromwell?
My car broke down.
Richardson?
Well, I happened to be passing by.
Miss Parks, will you please get them off my carpet?
Why is it every time that I'm here, the lights go out?
It must be a fuse or a circuit. Winston! Winston! Get them off my carpet. Jonathan! Bobby!
Boys, how did you get here?
I don't know.
Jonathan, what happened to your brother?
Bobby! 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 Bobby!
What did happen to those two girls? And how did Jonathan and poor Bobby arrive in the hallway? And for that matter, what happened to Bobby? You're going to have to wait until next week for Chapter 5 of The Ghost of Telford Mansion. Now, it's time for a visit with the one and only Uncle Flywheel. I think you'll find this evening's visit rather interesting. You know, we at CINEKYD are very, very proud to include among our friends an organization known as Citizens Action for Better TV. Within that particular group, efforts are made to improve the quality of children's programming and to keep kids mindful of the fact that not everything they see on TV or in the movies is real. Tonight, Uncle Flywheel attempts to explain to Stuart and his tiny helpers just that point, that things that appear on TV and in the movies don't always necessarily happen, that there's a lot of things called special effects and stunt work. But suppose we let Uncle Flywheel explain. So join me now as we take you far away to a place not included on every map. Here again is Uncle Flywheel's workshop.
What you doing? Warming up the TV. Well, there's a football game on tonight. Is that all you watch? Sports? Well, sometimes I watch baseball. That's sports. Oh. What you guys doing? Watching TV. Oh, good. There's a John Wayne Western on. We're watching football. Now, we're watching the Western. We're watching football. You're both wrong. We're watching the opera. I said we're watching
It's my turn to pick the show.
Why your turn?
'Cause I'm bigger.
What are we watching?
There's a horror movie on. Godzilla versus the Blob.
Oh.
What's the matter with you guys? It's great. Monsters and Dracula and blood and bats.
Here comes Uncle Flywheel. Now we'll see what we're going to watch.
Boys, I have bad news.
What?
The television is not working.
Oh.
Well, give me a chance. I'll try and fix it.
Well, hurry up and fix it. I want to watch football. Well, no, I want to watch the Western. I want to watch the opera.
We're all watching Godzilla versus the Blob.
Godzilla?
Yeah, don't you know who he is?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Let me show you. He's this really big lizard. He's got scabs all over his body, and he breathes fire and he goes walking through cities. Right, left, right, left, right. And he smashes houses, knocks over people, crunches cars.
Sounds delightful, Stuart.
Oh, it is. And someday, I'm going to meet Godzilla.
Stuart, Godzilla isn't real.
He isn't?
Tiny helpers, you didn't think Godzilla was real, did you?
But Uncle Flywheel, I don't watch this kind of shows because they're too scary.
You know, Enrico, a lot of people feel that way. But what seems to happen in these movies doesn't really happen.
But I saw Godzilla stepping on those houses.
Well, let me see if I can explain it this way. Stuart, you like Godzilla movies and horror movies, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Enrico, you don't like these movies because they're too scary.
Right.
Okay. But you do like John Wayne movies, right?
Right.
All right. Do you really think that in all those movies, John Wayne really shot all those people?
But I saw it, Uncle Flywheel.
Do you think that in all those movies, he really got into a fight and hit all those people?
But I saw it, Uncle Flywheel.
What you saw is what's called stunt work.
You mean Duke got in there, he really hit anybody?
You know, Stuart, a lot of people feel that there's too much violence on TV. And kids like you are the reason why.
But I didn't do anything.
Oh, Stuart. A lot of you boys and girls out there, like Stuart, my tiny helpers, enjoy what are called action movies. These are movies like westerns or science fiction movies, detective dramas. And in these films, there's a lot of what's called realistic action. Now, realistic action is like a fight or somebody getting shot. Now, what you're really seeing is a group of very talented, very brave people called stunt people. They put together these things that are often called gags to look as realistic as possible. Now, we here at CINEKYD like to make movies as professionally as possible. So we have our own group of stunt people who put together their own gags. I think it's easier if I show you instead of tell you. So maybe with a little elf magic, we can get this old TV to work.
Now, in commercial
feature
films,
as I said, most of the stunt work is done by people who are trained in this sort of thing. They get makeup and costumes designed so that they look like the stars. Then, through careful editing, you are led to believe that the big-name stars are actually making those death-defying leaps or taking those dramatic falls. In this action sequence from the CINEKYD film Whiplash, the young actors perform all of their own stunts. The punches, kicks, falls are all pretend, and they are the result of carefully practiced and precisely timed motions. In addition, the groans and punches, they were added later. It's all pretend, designed to look real. And while it's tiring work, since much of this sequence, like the rest of the film, was shot during July, not a single member of the production crew ever sustained even a minor injury while making Whiplash. Now, that's how we did it in Whiplash. While you were watching that, I showed Jimbo and Stuart a little movie magic. This is what's called the Western Punch. Show them, guys. Was very good, Stuart.
Thanks, Uncle Flavio. Now I can really get anybody.
I'm sure you can, Stuart. Now, if we put Stuart back into his opening position and go to the camera over here, then we can see just how far Jimbo missed Stuart. It was a careful combination of Jimbo's swing and Stuart's fall. We didn't rehearse that, Stuart.
How was that, CB?
CB?
Yeah, CB DeMille, movie talk.
The famous movie director.
Right.
Can we try? Yeah, can we?
Now there's a good point. This kind of thing should only be done when there's an adult around. And even then, only after you've practiced it 2 or 3 times. Okay, guys?
Okay.
All right. Well, I see by the cuckoo clock, our time for this week is just about up.
Oh.
On behalf of Stuart and the elves, always remember our motto. Each one, for each one. Good night.
Bye.
That's the wonderful thing about Uncle Flywheel. He's able to explain things so well. Uncle Flywheel, Stuart, the Tiny Helpers have been a part of our season this year, and we're very pleased that they're a welcome addition to so many homes. For those of you boys and girls who enjoy coloring or watercolors and things of that nature, I'd like to make this offer to you. We have a complete set of drawings. Uncle Flywheel, Stuart, Braino, Enrico, and Jimbo that we're very happy to send to you free of charge. This is something nice to have and which may add to your viewing pleasure. So if you'd like to have a complete set of drawings suitable for coloring, it's a mini coloring book. Simply drop me a line. Send it to CINEKYD, 129 Turwood Road in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, zip 19090. Just ask for the Uncle Flywheel drawings. There is no charge. We'll be very, very happy to send them to you. Next week, as well on CINEKYD Theater, we've got a very special film done by the tiniest filmmakers of our organization. It's an animation movie that they made a few months ago, complete with their own music. So be sure that you watch our program next week. And unfortunately, it is that time. So this is Bob Clark on behalf of the staff and the kids, thanking you for watching and inviting you to join us next week, same time, same station for CINEKYD Theater. Good night and God bless.